Hello, everyone. Thanks for the intro and thanks for the invite. I'm Michael from Nibble. If you haven't heard of us, I'm not offended. We are brand new. I think I tried pitching this to my mum about 10 times, and I think she thinks I'm selling crisps and pork scratching. But we're not that. We're an influencer marketing app that's been built for hospitality in mind, really. So I wanted to selfishly use this opportunity to talk about what we're doing, what we're about. I'll touch upon the integration with Toggle as well. But on brand, wanted to talk about how you might want to start thinking about like influencer marketing in the run-up to Christmas. So I'll talk about that. But first, it's quite funny, really. So we were doing some market research. We were reaching out to loads of different businesses about influencers and what their thoughts are, how they worked with them in the past, and it's divided opinions. I think if I go around the room, everyone will have different opinions on influencers. This was one reply. It was quite funny. I didn't know what to say. Clearly, you can see. But it's quite interesting. Like, what has caused that really strong reaction? Is it bad PR? Don't know. Was it they're just fed up with influencers messaging them for free food? Could be that. It could be that they've worked with influencers in the past but can't actually measure how well that particular post has done. So I think there's a bit of education to be done, and that's where we come in. I think influencers do get a bad rep. I think there just needs to be some education on the requirements, the guidelines, the expectations that's reciprocal as well. But I do think, if we start to think about content creation, it has changed quite a lot. It used to be so easy to take a picture on Instagram and upload it. It takes 5 seconds. But actually a lot more goes into creating content now, and it does take a lot more time. So in the same way you're going to pay a photographer to come in, all right, the impact might not be as good in pictures, but they are still giving up a lot of their spare time. And most of the influencers we already work with or we want to think about aren't the big celebrities. It's actually the micro-influencers that have full-time jobs. And they're also just a lot more than just content, right? So we can start to kind of think of them as an extension of our team, really. And just on the trusted recommendations one, I think just on that piece of like micro-influencers versus those like macro celebrity level. I don't know if anyone saw that Kim Kardashian collaboration with Beyond Meat. Hopefully there's no one from Beyond Meat here. But it was a 7-figure deal. Go on YouTube and have a look at the video. It's pretty funny, but it got a lot of stick because she's standing there with like a burger and kind of pretending to eat it. It's very, very like forced. It's not authentic. And actually, I think there's a lot of learnings from that. I think the first one is, well, none of you have got 7-figure budgets to spend on marketing. Don't think we'd know what to do with it if we did. But also, like, micro-influencers have highly engaged, like, super often niche, but also hyper-local audiences that we can tap into. If you were a vegan cafe launching in Lincoln next week, you're not going to want to work with Kim Kardashian because you might not see bookings and footfall from that. But actually someone with 2,000 followers, vegan, lives in the area, might have an engaged audience that are kind of leaning on them for recommendations and people you can tap into, for sure. I guess the most like area we've struggled on in the past, and we're still getting there, right? It's like, how do we measure the impact of influencers? It's still pretty tricky. I think we can try by giving them discount codes and, track that related to sales and bookings. That's one way, but I think we do have to kind of start to try and look at it and what can we measure? And actually talk about this in a bit with Nibble, is that what influencers do is they sign up connecting their socials, which they give us permission to do. But it also means we have data and insights that we can share with you. So how well has that post performed? Where is their audience? Have they bought followers, or have they actually got super targeted followers in London? We've got that data. But if you start to compare it like versus other channels, and we recently did a case study with one of our customers, Smashing Plates in London. And actually I think we worked out that the cost per engagement after a 30-day period of their campaign only works out about 5p. So if you compare that to, I don't know, Deliveroo ads that might be 35p or Meta ads that are even more expensive, then actually is a measurable channel. It's not that expensive. That pun's awful. I'm so sorry. So I think just thinking about Christmas, and I think how can we start to use influencers? I think we can get caught up on corporate bookings for sure, but in terms of like your regular bookings, I think we can start to use influencers ahead of time to come in, have a visit, have an experience that they want to show off on their socials, but really using their content to fit in and around your own social content strategy. A lot of it is, like it's authentic. You will get kind of influencers that do know what they're doing. I think I met up with one last week, Little London Vegan, you might know her. She was saying she has a regular call with Instagram every single week. They actually give her a ring and say, we're going to launch this feature. We recommend you do this with your certain posts. So I think we need to use them as guides on how to create good content. And you'll know that, it's no surprise to you guys, Reels and TikToks are absolutely flying at the minute. But actually, the Gen Zs are now searching on TikTok and Instagram as a search engine for where do they want to go for brunch, or, what are the top 5 festive treats in London. So use that to your advantage. They'll know that, but also it's something to bear in mind for your own social content strategy as well. So where does Nibble come in? Well, yeah, I guess we know there's a problem and we wanted to address it, and I hope we do. Please tell me otherwise, but you guys are just really busy. And you're probably outsourcing it to agencies, which absolutely fine, get it, but they've got the same problem in that it just takes so much time out of their week reaching out to influencers. Half might not even respond. You've got all the reschedules, cancellations, no-shows to deal with, and then there's chasing content, which is equally frustrating. So we wanted to build a platform that just made that whole process a little bit easier. Hopefully this plays. Do I just press play? No. Is that working? There you go, cool. So it doesn't take ages to kind of launch an influencer campaign, and we wanted to kind of get that across. I know some of you might have, written out these really amazing influencer briefs in the past, which, absolutely fine for journalists and press, but influencers won't read it. They just care about what you're going to give them and what you have to do in return. So how can we make that super quick and easy, set up a campaign and a listing in seconds, but what we've also done is flipped it in that you don't have to do any reaching out to influencers. We matchmake you based on, the right fit. That could be minimum follow requirements. It could be, vegans or style choice, and they reach out to you. So they see a feed of offers near them, like a marketplace. They know what the offer is, what the deal is, and there's also some preloaded time slots and dates for them to come in. So if you're starting to think about Christmas, I'd maybe suggest, early or mid-November, get them all in over a week period, ask for a week turnaround on content. You've then got all that content ready to share before the Christmas period kicks in. And also, they're pretty good at giving feedback and honest feedback. So if you want to collect that before you launch, then it's also a really good way you can use them. And then you've probably seen just there the toggle integration. But yeah, when we did a study with all the influencers on our platform so far, and one of the most common frustrations from their part, along with all the admin and emails back and forth as well, they don't like it. But one area was, they find it quite awkward when they get to the site do the teams know I'm coming? Do they know what the offer is? So with the toggle voucher, it's super easy. You can set up a toggle voucher on Nibble with preloaded budget. They show that at the till or when the bill comes over. They don't need to go through the awkwardness as well. That's still going. But also, we've got in the report, so I'm hoping it will go on to that now, which it should do. This is just showing you the email confirmations. Most of it is automated, so they know what to expect, and equally you get confirmations when they're booked in as well. But it will go on to reports now, which can kind of show you where you can start to measure the impact. So collectively over a campaign, it's total reach impressions. You'll also have all your content stored in a gallery, so you can see each particular post that an influencer's done and how well that's performed, but also collectively use that stats to go, finally there's something a little bit measurable against what I've been saying for a while. And if you need to kind of go and have an argument with your FD, you've got some form of data to do that and kind of help you out with. But I'll let that run its course anyway. This is just showing you the toggle voucher anyway. But here's the reports you can measure as well. We also store all the content so you can reshare it as well across your own social accounts as well. But that'll all be stored in there. Sound, cute dog. Yeah, and I guess with influencers, some of you are probably thinking, oh, okay, well, I'm not in London. I know there's not as many influencers in my local region that there is in London. But I think you just got to work on those influencers that you find that are good and actually, work. How can we work with them on an ongoing basis and more regularly? Influencers won't mind coming in regularly, providing that their content is different. So I think tying that into campaigns, like you can see a list on your right, that's probably the way to go with that. But yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to kind of give it a go, or chat to me later, happy to chat about it. But yeah, otherwise, see you at the bar.